Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. We're headed back to the tennis court once again, and we've got a match here in Let's Play Tennis by Play games. I played Inside Volley Tennis earlier today, so this is going to be a comparison of the two. I'm surprised at how much I enjoyed Inside Volley Tennis, especially once I was able to pull the narrative in from Inside Volley Tennis a little bit more. So we're going to give this a try. To help me out tonight, we have got Kim Clijsters playing against Jennifer Capriati playing on a grass surface tonight. Now, with Let's Play Tennis, there are a few different modules that you can use. There's a tournament module that we're not going to be using here, but there is this available to us. There's also for the set, which we will be using for at least one of these sets to get to a result of somebody trying to close it out. We've got a no rally module that we can use if we need to resolve some of these matches quickly. Or we've got the point-by-point module as Dave's Tabletop Gaming first to stop by. We've got a point-by-point module that we can also use. So I'm going to be very much learning the game the first time through. We've got the yellow peg here to indicate who's serving, and then this little thing is going to represent the ball. So let's jump in. We'll use for the set to get to the one module I think I'm not really warm to using is the no rally. So I think we're going to probably put that away for tonight. But let's go to for the set. So the way we're going to roll for the set is we're going to start off on the qualities this set to see what's driving the action. And one thing, I've got my dials out to help me track sets, because this mat doesn't do that. All right, on a 15, we look at forehand and endurance. So we'll check that. I believe the star on the player card means it's in effect on all surfaces, and if it's underlined, that's another point. So we're looking at forehand and endurance. Capriati's got forehand and it's underlined, so that's in effect on all surfaces. And endurance is on there but not underlined. Kim Clijsters has forehand underlined on all surfaces and endurance underlined on all surfaces. So she has what's known as a small advantage. So then we're going to roll the 2d6 again and combine our results. So Clijsters is leading. Small advantage. On a 10, advantage player leads set 5-1. So Clijsters has a 5-1 lead, trying to win the set. And I don't think we established who's serving. Well, who would have started with the serve? We'll roll black for Clijsters, white for Capriati. All right, so Capriati would have started with the serve. So if we're at 5-1, this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're back to Capriati serving. Now that we've got that straightened out. So now we're going to play this point by point. And when we're playing point by point, this is where some of the numbers over here on the card come into play. So if we roll an 11 on 2d6, that'll be an ace. 3 is a double fault. Anything else is a good serve. Yep, anything else? 12 we read on the unusual results on the serve. 7s are also special. The player will earn a performance chip if they have the surface quality in the surface section below. So if their matches with the ace, they win the point. If it matches double fault, it's a double fault. If the roll is doubles, it's a well-executed serve. So anything outside otherwise it's a normal routine serve. So Capriati with the serve. Let's see, that's a 4, which is doubles, so that's a well-executed serve. Let me look at the well-executed serve here. Let me see if I can find it. Where is the well-executed serve in here? Okay. So it's not explaining the well-executed serve in here. Where is it in here? This is driving me nuts. Again, the play rulebooks are not the best in the world. So well-executed serve. There's probably going to be something about it on the return. So, if the roll is also doubles, it's a well-executed return. Which that's not explaining that. Well-executed serve, I believe there was something about well-executed serve reducing the return range. I know that's what it means. Okay, on a roll of a 7. Nope, if they have the quality underlined, they made a good return. It's a well-executed serve, but that's not explained on here. Okay. Extend the winner range before play a chip. Just well-executed serve, but I don't see that explained in here, and it's kind of bothering me a little bit. So that will be a, like I said, that's a well-executed serve. So that's going over to Clijsters, but I'm trying to figure out what it does when it gets over to Clijsters. So yeah. If the previous serve return was well executed, which it was, the player's return is reduced by 1. So in this case, Clijsters will get a 5. Will have to roll a 5 to 8 to return it. That's a 10, so that'll go wide. Capriati will take the point and lead 15-love. Oop. Capriati with the serve. That's a boxcar, so that'll be an unusual result. So that sends me over to the... So that'll send us over to the serve unusual. Almost like the rare plays. That's a 4, so that's an ace. But its serve is seemingly out, but it's ruled and will roll a die. If it's odd, the chair umpire overrules the line judge, and it's a fault. That's an even, so that's an ace for Capriati, and she will not earn a performance chip. I thought she would. So Capriati leading 30-love. Capriati once again with the serve. That's a 5, so that'll be a routine serve. Clijsters looking for a 5 to 9 to return it. That's an 8. She will return it back to Capriati. She needs a 3 or a 5 to 8. Actually, she could go for, I think we established that if it's not a 7, she could go for a, if it's not a 7, I think she could go for a winner. But she does not earn a performance chip on a return dice roll of a 7. Alright, so it's just a regular return for Capriati. That's a 5. She will return it back to Clijsters. That's a 9. That's another good return by Clijsters. Back to Capriati. That's an 8. That's a double, so that'll be a well-executed return. Clijsters needs a 5 to 8. Which that's a 6. That'll be a good return back to Capriati. That's a 6. That'll be another good return. Back over to Clijsters again. Back and forth in this one. A 7. Okay, 7 I know is something special. Has the appropriate surface quality. They get a performance chip, except we're playing on grass. So Clijsters does not actually... So Clijsters does not get the... So she makes the serve. So she returns the shot, but Capriati gets to attempt a winner, and she will try it. She needs a 3 or a 5 to 8 on the winner. That's a 6. She'll put a drop shot in that Clijsters can't get to. Capriati leading this set 40 to love. Capriati trying to make game point. Looking for the serve. That's an 8. So that'll be a routine serve over to Clijsters. Clijsters looking for a 5 to 9 to return it. That's a 5. She will return it back to Capriati. As Larry Mullins now joins us here we'll pretend we're at Wimbledon for purposes, but we are on grass tonight. That's a snake eyes. That's a doubles result, but that will be... That's a doubles, but that's out of Capriati's return range, so Clijsters puts that drop shot in, and Capriati can't get to it. 40-15, Capriati. Capriati's still serving for game point. That's a 5. That'll be a routine serve over to Clijsters. 4 is outside of her return range. She'll put that long, and Capriati will take the game, taking a 5-2, still trailing in the set, 5-2. Clijsters looking at the serve. 6 will be a routine serve over to Capriati. 3, 5-8 to return. That's a 5. Capriati will return back to Clijsters. That's a 6. Back to Capriati we go. That's a 6. Back over to Clijsters we go. Snake Eyes is out of range. Capriati taking it will take a love 15 lead. Clijsters to serve. That's a 5. That'll be a routine serve over to Capriati. That's a 7. Back to Clijsters. Oh, 7. I forgot to check for the underdog. 1 is the forehand, and she does have it, so she has it, and she has it underlined. She'll get 2 performance chips from that. Okay, back over to Clijsters, who also rolled a 7. She looks at the 6 qualities come into play. Oh wait, so Clijsters is serving, so she looks at her qualities. In this case, 6. She's looking at savvy. She's got that underlined, so she'll get 2 performance chips as well. Back to Capriati. That's a 4. That's out of her return range. Clijsters bringing us to a 15-all tie. Capriati to serve. A 10 will be a routine serve over to Clijsters. Clijsters is going to sit on her chips. That's a 4. That'll go long, and Capriati taking a 30-15 lead. I think I'm starting to get the hang of this now. Clijsters to serve. That's a doubles. That'll be a well-executed serve. Capriati with a hard time returning it. That'll be a 3 or a 5-7. What tennis game do I recommend as far as fun factor is concerned? I'll come back to that question when we're all done here, Larry. I promise. I want to get through this game so I see what I think of it first. Capriati with a 3, 5-7 to return. That's a 6. She will return it back over to Clijsters. That's an 8. That's another doubles return. Capriati looking at another 3 or a 5-7. That is a 5. She'll return that back over to Clijsters. That's a 7, and we're looking at savvy. Clijsters will get her last 2 performance chips to go up to 4. Back to Capriati we go. That's an 8. That's a doubles return. Clijsters looking at a 5-8. I think she can spend a performance chip to bring that back to normal range. Yes, she can. So she will spend a performance chip to bring her range back up to a 5-9, because the doubles would have made it a 5-8. Which an 11 will go wide, and Capriati will take a 15-40 lead. Clijsters trying to serve, trying to not get broken on serve. That's a 7. So on the serve, we're looking at endurance. Clijsters has that underline, so she'll go back up to 4 performance chips. Back to Capriati, who's looking at the return. That's an 11. That'll go long, and Clijsters now trailing 30-40. Clijsters trying to avoid getting broken. That's a 7. She's got savvy underlined, but she's already at her max of 4 performance chips. Capriati doesn't get the chance to attempt a winner for free. 11 goes long, and now we're at deuce. Clijsters serving. That's a doubles serve. That's a well-executed serve. So Clijsters served. Capriati looking at a 3 or a 5-7. And yes, Jester, more tennis. Welcome to Wimbledon. That's a 7. Capriati, we're looking at her forehand. She's got that underlined, so 2 more performance chips. Back over to Clijsters we go. She will actually spend a chip to attempt a winner. On a 6 to 9 or an 11, Clijsters will get the winner. That's an 8. Clijsters will get the winner. She'll take the advantage at deuce. Clijsters managed to survive getting broke. Well, let's see if Clijsters survives getting broken to take this set. The serve, 7. Clijsters has endurance and underline. She will get a performance chip. That'll bring her up to 4. Capriati now. She will attempt a winner, trying to get us back to deuce. She needs a 3 or a 5 to 8. That's a 3. She will get the winner. That'll bring us back to deuce. Clijsters serving. That's a 9. That's a routine serve. Over to Capriati. That's a 4. She'll miss the return, and Clijsters will take the advantage once again at deuce. Clijsters serving for set point. That's an 8. That'll be a routine serve over to Capriati. That's a 3. That'll be a good return. Clijsters is going to spend a performance chip to try to make set point. She needs a 6 to 9 or an 11. That's a 7. She would get the chip, but Clijsters, more importantly, will take the set 6 to 2. I'm going to make a note of that, and that'll be our first set. Performance chips, I don't think carry over set to set. Let's see. Performance chips carry over game to game, but not set to set. Okay, so those get reset. As Clijsters takes the first set. Capriati serving to start the second game of the set. I'm trying to decide if I want to play this one full point by point or do another for the set. I think what we're going to do here is I'm going to roll another point by point. Well, I'll roll another for the set result, and then we might just play a full. We might play a full point by point for giggles. So let's do another for the set roll. Qualities that are driving it, looking at 24, backhand and footwork. Capriati's got 2. Footwork and backhand. Clijsters has got footwork underlined and backhand, so once again, Clijsters with a small advantage. That's an 11. Advantage player leads the set 5 to nothing, so that's Capriati, or that's Clijsters leading 5 nothing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're back over to Clijsters, who is serving for the match here in game 6 of this second set. Yeah, we might just be doing a full point by point for giggles here. Clijsters looking to serve. Clijsters with a 5, that'll be a routine serve over to Capriati. Capriati looking at a 7, she'll make the return over to Clijsters. 5 is outside, actually no, 5 is in her return range, that's back to Capriati. That's an 8, that'll be another return over to Clijsters. 4 is a doubles, but that one's going to go long. Capriati will take a love 15 lead. Clijsters trying to serve here with a 5-0 lead in the second set. That's a 9. That'll be a routine serve over to Capriati. 7 is actually in her return range, and 7 we're looking at endurance. She's got it, but not underlined, so Capriati picking up a performance chip. Over to Clijsters. Actually, let me double check that. On a 7, I think we check the black for the underdog, white for the favorite. Yep, I'm using Clijsters as the favorite. That's a 10, though. That's out of her return range. Capriati taking a love 30 lead. Clijsters to serve. Another one that goes into the net. Clijsters to serve. That's a 7. So we're checking backhand. Clijsters has that, but not under. Actually, I think we said black for the... Oh, check the surface quality, which Clijsters does not have that because we're playing on grass tonight. So Capriati actually gets to attempt a winner here, and she will. She gets to attempt a winner for free, and she will. 3 or a 5 to 8, Capriati will slam that home. That is a 3. Capriati looking to sweep this game and get on the board here in the second set. Clijsters trailing love 40, hoping to prevent Capriati from running the table. That's a 6. That'll be a routine serve over to Capriati. That's a 5. Back to Clijsters. That's a 5 on a good return. Back to Capriati. That's an 11. That's going to go into the net, and Clijsters will get on the board 15-40. Clijsters serving. That's a double. That's a 10 on a double. That'll be a well-executed serve. Capriati looking at a 3 and a 5 to 7. She's got to sit on the chip. Which that's a 9. That'll go long, and Clijsters will come into this down 30-40. Clijsters serving. That's an 11. That'll be a normal serve. Actually, no, that's an ace. I take that back. Clijsters has brought us to deuce with a beautifully executed ace. Clijsters serving at deuce. That's a 7. We're playing on grass, so she doesn't get that. Capriati will get to attempt a winner here. 3 or a 5 to 8. That's a 4. She will miss it. Advantage Clijsters at deuce. Or coming out of deuce. Advantage Clijsters. Clijsters looking for match point. 7. She won't get it because she doesn't have the grass quality, but that's a normal serve. Over to Capriati. That's a 6. That'll be in her return range. Capriati playing for the Clijsters with match point. 9 is in her return range. Back to Capriati. That's a 5. That'll be back to Clijsters in her return range. 5. Back to Capriati. 9 is just barely out of her return range. She should have spent the performance chip probably, but Clijsters will take the match in straight sets. 6-2, 6-0. Ugh. But we're not going to be done here yet, though. Because I think for giggles, we are going to do we're going to do a full set here, point by point, just so I can see how it goes. So the match at this point is over. Clijsters has won using for the set, but I do want to play a full set of just point by point. So the way we're going to do that is first I'm going to take a drink. Oh. And then we're going to come back to it. So we're going to roll. I think the way we're going to do this is we're going to use white for Clijsters since she's the favorite, black for Capriati for who's starting this full for the point by point with the serve. That will be Clijsters who starts with the serve. All right, so yeah, we're going to play this entire set point by point. Just so I can see how it flows. Clijsters with the serve to start this first game. A 7. We're still at Wimbledon, though. She doesn't get the performance chip. And I believe if she doesn't get the performance chip there, she can, if they have the surface quality underlined. If you didn't roll a 7, okay. Yep, okay. So roll black and white dice, okay? So Capriati back to it. Looking at a 3 or a 5 to 8. That's an 8. That'll be a good return over to Clijsters. Clijsters with an 11. She'll put that one along, put a little too much on it. Capriati taking a love 15 lead. Clijsters looking at her serve. A 9 will be a routine serve over to Capriati. A 7, And we're looking at the Savvy. She's got that underline, so Capriati will actually get 2 performance chips. Over to Clijsters. That's a 6. That'll be a return for her. Capriati will not go for a winner yet. She's going to look at a return. She will make the return. Back over to Clijsters. That's a 7. This time we're looking at Volley. She doesn't have that, so Capriati will get a free winner attempt. 3 or a 5 to 8. That is an 8 on the dot. Capriati will get the winner. She'll take a love 30 lead. Over to Clijsters, who is all of a sudden finding herself behind the 8 ball here. She will start off with a 9 with a good serve. Over to Capriati. That's an 8. That'll be a good serve. That'll be a good return. Back over to Clijsters. A 7. We're looking at backhand. She's got it, but not underlined. So Clijsters will get a performance chip along with a good return. I'm using small dice, by the way. The game does come with green chips, but instead I'm using small dice to keep track of the performance chips because that makes it easier for me. Back over to Capriati on the return. That's an 8. That'll be in her range. Back to Clijsters. That's another 8, back to Capriati. That's an 11. Capriati will slam that one long, and Clijsters will get into this one, 15-30. Back over to Clijsters we go. Clijsters serving. That's a 4. That's a well-executed serve. Capriati needs a 3 or a 5 to 7 to return this. She'll put that wide. Clijsters will bring us to 30 all. Clijsters still with the serve. An 11, that'll be an ace. Well done by Clijsters as Capriati can't get to that one. Fans are happy. Clijsters looking at a 40-30, looking for set point, or looking for game point. Not set point. A 6 is a well-executed serve. Capriati needs a 3 or a 5 to 7, or this set's over. She will get a 6. That'll be a good return. Over to Clijsters. That's a 7. We're looking at Volley. She doesn't have that quality. Capriati will get a free winner shot. 3 or a 5 to 7. That is a 7. We're looking at her forehand. She's got that twice. And we are at deuce. Back over to Clijsters. Clijsters serving here at deuce in the first game. That's a doubles. That's a well-executed serve. Capriati will spend a chip to bring it back to her normal return range. 3 or a 5 to 8. That's a 9. She'll put that one long. Advantage to Clijsters. Clijsters once again serving for game point. An 8 is a normal serve. Back over to Capriati. A 4 is outside of her return range. Clijsters will take game 1 in this full for-the-point set. Actually, I'll just leave the ball with Capriati because Capriati will be serving. That's what the yellow pawn is representing, by the way. Capriati now ready to serve. Here we go. That's an 8. That's a normal serve. Back over to Clijsters. Clijsters with a 7, and we're looking at her forehand. She's got that underlined, so she will get 2 performance chips. Over to Capriati. An 8 is a doubles. That's a well-executed return. Capriati will spend a chip to bring it back to her normal range of 5 to 9. That is an 8. She'll return that to Capriati. Capriati will go for a winner here. Needs a 3 or a 5 to 8 to put that one home. A 7 will give her savvy. She'll get the 2 performance chips back, and the smash goes through. Capriati taking a 15 love lead. Capriati to serve. Hopefully you guys are enjoying a little Tuesday night tennis here on the channel. Capriati serving. 10 is a well-executed serve. Clijsters needs a 5 to 8 to return this, which she will not get. She'll put that one long. Capriati taking a 30 love lead. Capriati with the serve. That's a 6. That'll be a normal serve. Over to Clijsters. That's a 4. She'll put that one long, and taking a 40-15 to a 40 love lead. Capriati trying to run the table here in this second game. That's an 8. That'll be a normal serve over to Clijsters. That's a 6. She'll put that one on net. Capriati will spend a chip to go for a winner. 3 or a 5 to 8. She will get it with a 7. Looking at the 2 for her as a backhand, that'll give her another chip back. And Capriati will hold serve and tie this set at 1 game apiece. And we'll go over to Clijsters with the serve. Capriati goes over, fist pumps her coach on a great game. Clijsters with the serve, tied at 1. Tied at 1 here in this set. That's an 8. That'll be a normal serve. Back to over to Capriati. That's a 4. She's going to put that one into the net, and Clijsters will take a 15-love lead. Clijsters to serve. That's an 8. That'll be a normal serve over to Capriati. That's an 11. She'll put that one long, and Clijsters will take a 30-love lead. Clijsters serving up 30-love here in Game 3. That's a 10. That'll be a normal serve over to Capriati. That's a 3. Good return over to Clijsters. That's a 9. She will return that. Capriati will go for a winner. She will get it, and she'll jump into this match and get on the board 30 to 15. Clijsters with the serve. That's a 9. That'll be a normal serve over to Capriati. Capriati puts that one long. Clijsters up 40 to 15. Clijsters serving for game point. That's a 3. That'll be a good serve. That would have been a double fault on Capriati, but Capriati with the return. A 5 will be a return for her over to Clijsters. A 6 is a return for Clijsters, back to Capriati. A 10 is going to go long, and Clijsters will take the lead 2 games to 1. Capriati serving here in Game 4. A 7. She doesn't have the service quality, so Clijsters will get a free shot at a winner. That's a 5. She won't get it. Capriati taking a 15-love lead. Capriati with the serve. A 3 is a normal serve over to Clijsters. A 6 is a well-executed return. Capriati will spend a chip to bring this back up to her normal range. 3 or 5 to 8. That's a 5. That'll be a good return over to Clijsters. A 9 will be another return over to Capriati. That's a 7. For her, we're looking at forehand. She's got it underlined. She'll go back up to 4 performance chips over to Clijsters. 7. For her, we're looking at her forehand as actually we're looking at her forehand. She's got that underlined as well. We'll go to 4 performance chips. Capriati will attempt a winner. She will get it, taking a 30 to love lead. Actually, yeah, 30 to love. Capriati with the serve. As Conflict Board Gaming now joins us here at Wimbledon. Interested to see how this game plays. Well, as I was explaining earlier, Conflict, you'll probably want to go back and watch the intro of the video at some point, but there are a few different modules. We're doing this one full point by point. What I will say, though, well, I'm not gonna, it'll make sense as we're going through it. So that's a boxcars. That's actually going to be an unusual result, because that's what we get here. So we're going to our unusual serve chart. Think of this as like rare plays. On a 7, spectacular serve place, an opponent has to roll a 7. So Clijsters has got to roll a 7, or Capriati will take this point. She rolls an 8. Capriati up 40 to love. Capriati looking at game point, trying to tie this at 2 games apiece. Let's see what she can do with this. She'll get a doubles on a great serve. Clijsters has got to roll. Clijsters is going to spend a chip to bring that to her normal return range, 5 to 8. She'll put that one long, though, and Capriati will tie us at 2 games apiece here in the match, or in the set. Clijsters is serving, and I'm taking a drink. I will say I've been enjoying Tennis Tuesday a lot more than I expected to. Because I know my first experience with inside volley tennis, I was looking at this game like, what's the draw here? Then I think the narrative started to come through a little bit more. You guys know if you're regulars on the channel, you guys know I'm huge into narrative. So once the narrative started coming out in these games, I think it started to flow a lot better, and I enjoyed it a lot more. That drink, was it rum and cola? No, it wasn't rum and cola, Conflict. I don't drink alcohol. Clijsters with the serve. Love 40, trying to avoid getting broken on serve. A Snake Eyes will help. That'll be a well-executed serve. Capriati will spend a chip to keep that in her normal return range, which she will get. Clijsters with the Clijsters. That'll go over to Clijsters. 5 will come back over to Capriati. That's an 11. That'll go long, and Clijsters will get on the board here in this game. 15-40, though. Clijsters still facing down game point. Trying to not get broken on serve. 9 is a routine serve. Back to Capriati. That's an 11. That'll go long again. And now maybe the pressure's getting to Capriati a little bit here. Clijsters with the serve once again. Boxcars is going back to the unusual chart. So we're back here again. This time we're rolling a 9. Fault. Ball seemingly in but ruled out. We'll roll a die on an odd. Chair umpire overrules the line judge, and it's an ace. That is odd, so that's actually going to be an ace, and Clijsters with a clutch unusual serve roll gets us to deuce. Clijsters storming all the way back to force deuce. Now that's another beautiful serve by Clijsters. Capriati has got a 3 or a 5-7 to return this. She's going to have to set on her chips. That's an 8, which would be a good return otherwise, but because of the well-executed serve, Clijsters has the advantage. Clijsters trying to win game point. After storming all the way back. 6 is a routine serve. Back over to Capriati. That's a 6. That's a doubles return. That's a well-executed return. Capriati will spend a chip to keep that at a 5-9 to return it. She will return it over to Capriati. That's a 3. That will be a return over to Clijsters. 5 back to Capriati. A 9 will go long, and Clijsters will take game 5, take a 3-2 lead in the set. Capriati ready to serve. Trying to keep pace with Clijsters. 4 is a well-executed serve. Clijsters needs a 5-8 to return this one, which she will get the 5-8 back over to Capriati. That's a 10. That'll go long, and Clijsters will jump out to a love 15 lead. Capriati with the serve. That's a 5. That'll be a normal serve. Back to Clijsters. That's an 11. That'll go long, and Capriati will tie us up at 15 all. Capriati with the serve. That's a 10. That'll be a normal serve. Back to Clijsters. That's a 5. Over to Capriati on the return. A 6 goes back to Clijsters. 6 back to Capriati. 4 is going to go into the net, and Capriati will now trail 15-30. Rum and cola is what you imagine posh spectators of this fictional game would drink. Not when you don't drink alcohol, Conflict. Anywho, Capriati with the serve, and hopefully you're also enjoying a little bit of Tuesday night tennis here at our fictional Wimbledon match. Capriati facing down a 15-30 deficit. Let's see what she does here. A doubles will be a good return. Clijsters needs a 5-8 to return this. That's a 4, so she won't get the return. Capriati ties us up at 30 all. Capriati to serve. That's a 7. She doesn't get the equality, so Clijsters gets an attempt at a winner. 6 to 9, or an 11 for a winner. She will not get it. Capriati will bring us to 40 to 30. Capriati serving for game point. She'd love to tie this set at 3 games apiece. A 9 is a good serve. Over to Clijsters. That's a 4, and Capriati will tie this set at 3 games apiece. She'll hold serve. Clijsters now serving. Here in game number 7. That's a snake eyes. That'll be a well-executed serve. Capriati needs a 3 or a 5 to 7. I didn't think you were... I'm sorry, Conflict. I just didn't... I wasn't intending to be negative with that. I don't drink alcohol. It's a personal choice of mine. More power to you if you do. So I apologize if you thought I was offended by that. I wasn't. I'm probably just making it worse at this point. Anyway, where were we? Oh yes, Capriati getting ready to return. She will not, though, as Clijsters will take a 15-love lead. Clijsters with the serve. That's a normal serve. Over to Capriati. 7, and I believe for the I've got to remember for the underdog on a 7, we check black for the underdog. So in this case, that is her endurance. She has that, but not underlined, so only 1 chip. Over to Clijsters. That's a 9. She will return it. Over to Capriati. That's a 6. She'll return that. Back to Clijsters. That's a 9. Back to Capriati. We've got a good volley, good sequence going here. Boxcars is a return unusual result. So let's see what happens here. So we've also got a return winner unusual chart. That's an 11. Fall to court after fabulous return. Opponent attempts winner. Add 1 to the opponent's winner range. So that'll be a 6 to 10. That'll actually be a 6 to 11 is how we're going to do that. Just to round out the range there. And Clijsters will get that. So actually, yeah, Clijsters will bring us to 30 to 30 love. Clijsters to serve. That'll be a normal serve. Over to Capriati. 7 will be returned. Back to Clijsters. 6 back to Capriati. That's an 8. Back to Clijsters again. 6 is back to Capriati. Back to Clijsters. Another good sequence going. 7, we are looking at, that'll be a return anyway. We're looking at white for the favorite. 3 in this case, I've got it in my hand as a volley. Clijsters doesn't have it. Capriati will get a free shot at a winner. Which she, oh, that's an unusual result. So back to the unusual chart again. This time it's a 5. Bungled return. Point for opponent. Return player disgust. So that'll be a point for Clijsters, and Capriati will lose all of her performance chips. Ouch. So here's what I'm drinking, actually, Conflict. This is just this probably looks like rum and cola, but it's actually Concord grape flavored Crystal Light. And I don't mind if you chip in with chat, but I just wanted to make sure we got that cleared up. Okay. Clijsters looking at a 40 to love lead, and Capriati frustrated, losing all of her performance chips. A bad break for Capriati. Clijsters looking to take game point. She'll start off with a well-executed serve. Capriati needs a 3 or a 5 to 7. What a bad time to lose all of her chips. She will get the 5, though. That'll go back to Clijsters. A 10 will sail along, though, and Capriati will get out on the board, 40 to 15. Capriati still staring down game point from Clijsters, though. Although last time we were in this spot, Clijsters stormed all the way back to take a game. Let's see if she can do it here. That'll be a normal serve. Over to actually, no, that'll be a double fault. Never mind. That's a 4. Clijsters, 40 to 30. And I don't only drink Crystal Light Jester. I do drink occasionally plain water, too. But usually, especially Especially when I'm here, it's mostly crystal light. Clijsters looking at game point. That's a 7. She doesn't have the grass quality, so Capriati will get a free winner out of this. A 7, she will get the winner. For the underdog, we're checking black, so that's endurance. She does have that, but not underlined. So Capriati has stormed all the way back to force deuce. Clijsters serving at deuce. And that's a doubles serve. Capriati is looking at a 3 or a 5 to 7. Which of boxcars is another unusual result. This time it's a 7 and a spectacular shot. Opponent has to roll a 7 for the return. So this has to be a 7 for Clijsters. It is not. Capriati will take the advantage. And all good conflict. Yeah, I'm not much of a drinker anymore. I did have my experiments with it when I was younger, but I just decided it wasn't worth it for me. Anyway, so let's just call that good at this point. So, Clijsters now facing down Capriati advantage as Capriati trying to break Clijsters on serve. Snake Eyes is a well-executed serve. Capriati needs a 3 or a 5 to 7. That's an 8. Clijsters will bring us back to deuce. Messaging leaves a lot of nonverbal communication. So does me hiding behind the camera, most likely. So, Clijsters looking at deuce once again. A 4 is actually no, 4 is a double fault. So that's back to advantage Capriati. Capriati trying to break Clijsters once again. That's an 8. That's a good serve over to Capriati. An 11 will not break Clijsters, and that's back to deuce again. Neither lady wanting to give up this game. As we're tied at 3, both of them looking for the advantage. Clijsters serving at deuce. That's a 3. That'll go over to Capriati. I was just checking to make sure it wasn't a double fault again. That's an 8. That will be a return over to Clijsters. That's a 5. Another return over to Capriati. That's a 7. We're looking at her forehand. She's got it and underlined, so that'll be 2 performance chips for Capriati. Clijsters with the return. That's a 9. She will return. Capriati is going to go for a winner. She won't get it. Clijsters will take the advantage, trying to hold serve for game point. That's an 11. That'll be an ace, actually, and Clijsters will take the game. Take a 4-3 lead here in the set. Capriati serving, suddenly down 4-3. Come here, dice. Not sure what the decider die is used for. Doesn't seem like it's used for anything in this game, so I think here I can probably... Oh, the decider die might be for doubles play. That would make sense. Alright, so Capriati serving. Capriati with an 8. That'll come over to Clijsters. A 6, back to Capriati. That's a 6, back to Clijsters again. We're getting another good sequence going here. A 10, though, will go long, and Capriati will take the lead, 15 love. Capriati with the serve. That'll be a normal serve over to Clijsters. An 8 comes back to Capriati. An 11 goes long, and Clijsters will tie us up, 15 all. Back to Capriati with a normal serve, over to Clijsters. That's an 8, back to Capriati we go. A 7, and we're looking at footwork. Capriati's got that, but not underlined, so another performance chip for Capriati. Over to Clijsters. That's a 7. This time we're looking at volley. Clijsters doesn't have that. Capriati gets a free shot at a winner, though. She will get it. She'll also get another performance chip because she's got forehand and a 30-15 lead. Capriati to serve. Once again, down 4-3 in the set. That's a 4. That'll be a good serve over to Clijsters. That'll be a 10. That'll go long, and Capriati looking at 40 to 15, going for game point. Back to Capriati. That'll be a good serve over to Clijsters. That's a 5. Capriati is going to spend a chip to try to go for a winner here, try to finish this game. And she will get it. She'll also get the chip back, but Capriati will tie the set at 4 games apiece. Back to Clijsters with the serve once again. Let's see what Clijsters can do here. She will not get the performance chip. Capriati will get a free winner shot out of this. She will get the winner, Capriati taking a love 15 lead. Clijsters with the serve. That'll be a good serve over to Capriati. That's a 3. She'll return it over to Clijsters. That's a snake eye. That's a 4. That's not going to be a return. Capriati will take that point as that'll go into the net. And love 30 for Capriati. Clijsters serving, though. That's a 7. She doesn't have the grass quality. Capriati gets a free shot at a winner, though. She will get it. She's already full on chips. Capriati looking to break Clijsters here and take a 5-4 lead. A 5, Clijsters just barely misses a double fault. We're over to Capriati. That's a 10. She'll put that one long. Clijsters back on the board. Capriati would like to avoid getting Clijsters storm all the way back. That's a 3. She won't double fault. Capriati would have on the serve. Capriati on the return. She'll return it over to Clijsters. That's a 5. That'll come back. Capriati will spend to go for a winner. She will get it along with doubles. Capriati taking this game will break Clijsters and take a 5-4 lead, looking for the set. Capriati to serve. That'll be an 11. That's an ace. A beautiful serve by Capriati. She will go up 15 love. Capriati serving for the match in the course of this game. That's a 5. That'll be a good serve over to Clijsters. That's a 6. That'll be a good return over to Capriati. That's an 8. That'll go back to Clijsters. That's an 8. That'll come back to Capriati once again. That's a 9. That'll go long, and Clijsters will get on the board 15 all. Capriati serving 15 all. That's a 5. That'll be a good serve over to Clijsters. That's a 3. That'll go long, or that'll go into the net. Capriati taking a 30-15 lead. Over to Capriati. Another ace. Another beautiful serve by Capriati. And Capriati now serving for set point. Capriati, 40-15, serving for the set. A 7. She doesn't have the quality. Clijsters with a free winner shot. That's a boxcars result, so that's an unusual result. A 7, spectacular shot replacement. Opponent has to roll a 7, so Capriati's got to get a 7 out of this. She does not. Clijsters looking at 40-30. Capriati still serving for the set. A 5 will be a good serve over to Clijsters. A 9 will be a good return. Capriati is going to try to finish this right here. She's going to go for a winner. And Jennifer Capriati is going to fall to the ground, hug her coach. She will win the set by a 6-4 score. And that's where we're going to call it a playthrough of Let's Play Tennis. Officially, Clijsters won the match in straight sets, but Capriati won our point-by-point portion of the game. So that'll do it for this playthrough of Let's Play Tennis. Now let's revisit that question that Larry asked earlier about which game I prefer. Whether I prefer Inside Volley Tennis or Let's Play Tennis. Honestly, as much as I want to cop out and say it's a toss-up, as much as I kind of want to cop out and say it's a toss-up, I have to be honest and say I kind of like this one a little bit better than inside volley tennis. Because there are options, because of the different modules it's got. This one's got the, what is it? This one's got the, for the set, so you can essentially set the table for your match. There's also a tournament module that I could use. I might be a little bit warmer to using tournament here, but I'll have to try that out. There's also no rally, which we weren't using here, but we could use this if we need to get through a bunch of matches quickly. And of course there's point by point, which I was using. Whereas inside volley tennis gives you a little bit more of the, it's a faster resolution essentially of the match in inside volley tennis, where it gives you the whole result of the point. If you were watching my inside volley tennis video earlier, you probably found that I had to fill in a lot of blanks in terms of the narrative, but I think it was a little bit easier. Well, I was going to say it's easier to pull the narrative out there, but I think the narrative actually comes out a little bit more easily in this game than it does in inside volley, just because you've got the serve, then the return, then you get a good volley, then you get a good sequence going between your two players, or potentially four if you're doing a doubles match. And that might be where the decider die comes in. But I think I like this one a little bit better, to be perfectly honest. Just again, because of all the options you've got for playing the game. So, since I like sports games, have I ever played First and Goal? It's a football game that uses dice and cards. Impossible to play solo, though. I can't say as I've played First and Goal before Conflict. I've always had a little bit of a touchy relationship with football when it comes to the tabletop, especially with doing season replays, where I really want to stress test my systems and get good rhythms going. So I'm kind of a little bit gun shy about football systems. I know I got Data-Driven Football, a season of that from Jester as part of the box that I just cracked earlier tonight. So I'm going to have to look into that as well. Plus I've already got APA, Glory Days Pro, second season, and Momentum. Actually, I've got season ticket football as well. So I've actually had a few different systems of football that I like, but I've always been a little bit spotty about my football games. Anyway, I'm rambling, so let's go ahead and wrap this video up. We will be back tomorrow morning with probably a bigger game on the channel tomorrow morning, but we'll see what that is. That's going to be. Stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care, everyone.